Delaying a timeline, of course, for advancing what the president says is a critical part of his agenda.
With the eyes of history upon us.
At the biggest summit in years, the president warning the planet is in peril and the world is at an inflection point.
Will we act? Will we do what is necessary? Will we seize the enormous opportunity before us?
Biden pledging the U.S. will take the lead on combating climate change as his own climate ambitions face critical tests at home and abroad.
My administration is working overtime to show that our climate commitment is action, not words.
Biden promising the U.S. will keep its word and apologizing after his predecessor withdrew the U.S. from the Paris Climate Accords.
I guess I shouldn't apologize, but I do apologize for the fact the United States, the last administration pulled out of the Paris Accords and put us sort of behind the eight ball.
The president touting his own plan to reduce emissions that's still awaiting passage by Democrats in Washington.
My Build Back Better framework will make historic investments in clean energy.
While the president's top aides plan to show of force at the Global Climate Summit in Glasgow, there were some notable no-shows, including China, the world's biggest polluter, Russia, and Saudi Arabia. Biden calling their absence a disappointment.
Not only Russia, but China basically didn't show up in terms of any commitments to deal with climate change. And there's a reason why people should be disappointed in that. I found it disappointing myself.
But today, Biden declined to call out China directly and instead called for global cooperation.
None of us can escape the worst that's yet to come. There's no more time to hang back or sit on the fence or argue amongst ourselves.
Exactly that timing will happen. And in light of that statement from Senator Manchin this afternoon, we quickly got a response from the White House saying they are confident that in the end, they will gain Senator Manchin's support, Jake.
Gave birth to their first child, Tiffany. Their son, Dana, came 4 years later in 1971. By then, Dale had become so successful that he invested in agricultural real estate. He soon amassed an $8 million fortune. Glee quit teaching to devote her time to philanthropy.
Glee was a community activist, just a wonderful person who did a great deal of volunteer work within the community.
Glee was a force of nature in a very nice way. She was an appointee to the State Bar Board of Governors. She also became the executive director of the Fresno Regional Foundation.
Everybody seemed to, in most circles, know either Dale or Glee. They were very successful in what they did.
But you'd never know the Ewells were millionaires by looking at them.
Fresno is a great community.
Short years ago, he's not always right, and sometimes he's right, but he's not right about what his company's going to do in those areas, but he does tend to push the boundaries more than anybody else.
All right, Ian King, thank you for that update. We'll, of course, keep following NVIDIA's efforts. Meantime, of course, Facebook changed its name to Meta last week, but the problems don't end there. I want to bring in Yael Eisenstadt, Future of Democracy Fellow at the Berggruen Institute and a former head of election integrity at Facebook. Yael, I've been dying to hear your take on this. So Mark Zuckerberg's new vision for the metaverse, are you a believer or not?
I mean, I'm not one of those people who's going to get all breathless and excited over a change in the name. I mean, the metaverse is a whole nother question, but starting with the point of the changing the name, that does not actually absolve the company of all of the things that we have been learning in the past few weeks, months, and years about some of the really detrimental things happening within Facebook and Instagram and other, I guess, parts of the Meta companies now.